8 flexibility tricks used by active 80-year-olds. Why others their age can barely move. Did you know that by age 80, the average person has lost 50% of their flexibility? Yet there's a remarkable group of 80-somethings who can touch their toes, play with grandchildren on the floor, and even enjoy activities like tennis and dancing without pain. What's their secret? I'm Dr. Elizabeth Sinclair, and after 40 years as a geriatric physical therapist, I've discovered that maintaining flexibility isn't about intense workouts or expensive equipment. In fact, the most mobile 80-year-olds I've worked with follow 8 simple practices that take just minutes a day. The 5th one is particularly surprising. It's something most doctors never mention, yet my most agile patients swear by it. Stay with me to discover why some seniors move with ease while others can barely reach their shoelaces. Before we begin, if you're watching this video, give it a thumbs up so more people our age can discover these life-changing flexibility secrets. And tell me in the comments, what activity would you love to do again if your body felt more limber? Flexibility isn't just about comfort, it's about independence. In my 4 decades working with older adults, I've seen how the ability to bend, reach and stretch determines whether someone can live independently or requires assistance for basic tasks. Meet William, age 83. When he first came to my clinic, he couldn't put on his own socks. His daughter was driving 40 minutes daily to help him dress. After implementing these 8 flexibility practices for just 6 weeks, William not only dresses himself completely, but recently surprised his family by getting down on the floor to build a Lego castle with his 6-year-old great-grandson. William isn't special or genetically gifted. What he did, anyone can do, regardless of your current flexibility level or past injuries. The techniques I'm about to share aren't fancy or complicated. They don't require gym memberships or expensive equipment. What they do require is consistency and understanding the science of how our bodies change with age. Have you noticed how some people seem to age gracefully while others deteriorate rapidly? The difference often comes down to these hidden flexibility habits. Let's dive into the first one, which might challenge everything you've been told about stretching after 60. The most flexible seniors I've worked with don't start their day with intense stretching. Instead, they practice what I call morning micro-movements. Tiny, gentle movements performed while still in bed that wake up the nervous system before demanding flexibility from stiff muscles. Most people make the critical mistake of trying to touch their toes or do deep stretches immediately after waking. But your body has been still for 7 to 8 hours, and jumping into stretches is like trying to bend a cold rubber band. It's likely to snap. Here's what my most agile 80-year-old patients do instead. Upon waking, they remain in bed and perform 2 to 3 minutes of small, gentle movements. Ankle circles, 10 rotations each direction. Wrist circles, 10 rotations each direction. Gentle neck tilts, 5 in each direction. Knee to chest hugs, 3 to 5 per leg, holding for just 3 seconds. Shoulder shrugs and rolls, 5 to 10 repetitions. These micro-movements increase blood flow to joints and muscles before you even stand up, preparing your body for the day ahead. This stimulates synovial fluid, the natural lubricant in your joints, and activates proprioceptors, the sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space. Veronica, an 84-year-old former nurse, told me these morning micro-movements were like adding oil to a squeaky door. Everything just works better afterward. The scientific reason this works: research from the Journal of Physiology shows that gentle movement before stretching increases stretch tolerance by 15% in older adults. Your muscles aren't actually cold, they just need communication with your nervous system re-established after sleep. Have you ever noticed you're stiffer in the morning than later in the day? That's exactly why these micro-movements are so effective. Let me know in the comments if you've tried something similar or if this approach is new to you. The beauty of this technique is that it's accessible to everyone, even those with limited mobility or chronic pain. You're not trying to increase flexibility yet, you're simply preparing your body to move safely later. After you've done your micro movements and gotten out of bed, that's when you move to the second flexibility trick, which addresses the most overlooked aspect of flexibility after 70. If you've been struggling with stiffness despite stretching regularly, this next trick might be the missing piece. The most flexible 80-year-olds I've worked with follow what I call the hydration timing protocol, a precise approach to hydration that dramatically improves tissue elasticity. Did you know that by age 80, the water content in our fascia, the connective tissue surrounding muscles, decreases by up to 30%? This is why so many seniors feel stiff despite stretching. They're working with dehydrated tissues. Here's the surprising protocol followed by my most limber patients. 1. Drink 8 to 12 ounces of water immediately upon waking before coffee or tea. 2. Consume another 8 ounces 20 minutes before any stretching or exercise. 3. Sip 4 to 6 ounces during activity rather than waiting until you feel thirsty. 4. Add a pinch of high-quality salt to morning water to improve cellular hydration. The timing is crucial. Studies from the American Journal of Physiology show that pre-hydrating 20 minutes before stretching increases tissue elasticity by up to 23% in older adults. Richard, a 79-year-old who still does garden work for hours without back pain, told me, "I thought my morning stiffness was just age until I tried this hydration approach. Within 2 weeks, I could bend over in the garden without groaning. I didn't change my stretches, I just changed when I drank water." Beyond timing, the temperature matters too. Room temperature water is absorbed more efficiently than cold water, which can actually cause muscles to contract slightly. Many of my most flexible senior patients keep a covered glass of water by their bedside, specifically for their morning drink. What about you? Do you hydrate intentionally or just drink when you feel thirsty? Let me know in the comments about your hydration habits. One critical note: if you have congestive heart failure, kidney disease, or take diuretics, consult your doctor about the appropriate fluid intake for your condition. This hydration protocol works hand in hand with our third flexibility trick, which addresses the surprising connection between gut health and joint mobility. The third flexibility secret, practiced by remarkably agile 80-year-olds, focuses on something completely unexpected: inflammation timing. I call this the 30-minute inflammation window, a strategic approach to reducing the inflammatory response that makes stretching exponentially more effective. Most people don't realize that inflammation is a major contributor to stiffness as we age. By age 70, our bodies produce 40% more inflammatory cytokines than when we were 30, creating a constant low-grade inflammation that restricts movement. Here's the protocol my most limber octogenarian patients follow. 1. They stretch during the lowest inflammation window, 30 minutes after waking but before breakfast. 2. They avoid inflammatory foods, processed sugar, refined carbohydrates, seed oils, before stretching sessions. 3. They consume natural anti-inflammatory compounds 1 to 2 hours before dedicated stretching. Catherine, an 81-year-old who still teaches Tai Chi 3 times weekly, swears by this approach. "I used to stretch whenever I could fit it in, usually after dinner. When I switched to morning stretching before breakfast, the difference was remarkable, like my body was finally listening to what I was asking it to do." The science behind this is fascinating. Research from the Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrates that cortisol, our primary stress hormone, reaches its peak about 30 minutes after waking. This natural cortisol surge actually helps reduce inflammation temporarily, creating a perfect window for flexibility work. Many of my patients enhance this effect by consuming natural anti-inflammatories before their morning flexibility routine. 1 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric mixed with black pepper in warm water. 2 tablespoons of tart cherry juice, fresh ginger tea. I'm curious, have you noticed that your flexibility varies at different times of day? Share your experience in the comments below. It's important to note that chronic conditions like rheumatoid arthritis may require additional timing considerations. Always work with your healthcare provider to find your optimal inflammation windows. This inflammation window works perfectly with our fourth flexibility trick, which focuses on an overlooked muscle group that's the key to maintaining independence as we age. Flexibility trick number 4, ankle mobility mastery. Our fourth flexibility secret might surprise you. While most seniors focus on stretching their back, hips or hamstrings, the most agile 80-year-olds I've worked with prioritize what I call ankle mobility mastery, and for good reason. Did you know that ankle flexibility predicts fall risk better than almost any other physical measure? A study in the Journal of Gerontology found that seniors with limited ankle mobility are 2.6 times more likely to experience falls. Yet most flexibility programs completely neglect this critical area. Here's the ankle mobility protocol followed by my most balanced and flexible senior patients. 1. Seated ankle rotations, 10 circles in each direction, both ankles. 2. Towel scrunches, placing a towel flat on the floor and using toes to scrunch it toward you. 3. Calf wall stretches, holding for 30 seconds per leg. 4. Ankle alphabet, writing the entire alphabet with each foot. 5. Seated heel raises, 10 to 15 repetitions with a 2-second hold at the top. Alfred, an 86-year-old who still hikes weekly, credits ankle mobility work with preserving his independence. I watched all my friends start shuffling when they walk. They thought it was just age, but I kept my stride because I've done these ankle exercises daily for 20 years. The impact of ankle mobility extends far beyond the feet. When your ankles lose flexibility, it creates a compensation pattern that travels up the entire kinetic chain, affecting your knees, hips, and even your lower back. This is why many seniors experience pain in these areas despite stretching them directly. What makes this approach different is the emphasis on multi-directional mobility rather than just forward and back stretching. Your ankles need to be flexible in all directions to navigate uneven surfaces and maintain balance. I'd love to know, how much attention do you currently pay to ankle mobility? Have you noticed changes in how you walk or your confidence on uneven surfaces? Share your thoughts in the comments. For those with existing ankle issues, even seated exercises can dramatically improve mobility over time. Consistency matters more than intensity. This ankle work pairs perfectly with our fifth flexibility trick, the one most doctors never mention, yet my most limber patients consider their secret weapon. Flexibility trick number 5, fascial hydration technique. The fifth flexibility secret is the one that surprises everyone, a technique my most limber patients call their miracle method. It's the fascial hydration technique, and it addresses the actual tissue that determines much of your flexibility, your fascia. Fascia is the connective tissue that surrounds every muscle, bone, nerve, blood vessel and organ in your body. By age 80, fascia becomes significantly dehydrated and can lose up to 40% of its elasticity. Yet most doctors and physical therapists never specifically address fascial health. Here's the fascial technique practiced by my most remarkably flexible older patients. 1. They use a soft ball, like a tennis ball, to gently roll the bottoms of their feet for 2 minutes each morning. 2. They perform gentle side-to-side twisting motions while seated, focusing on rotation rather than bending. 3. They practice skin rolling, gently pinching and lifting the skin along the back of their legs and arms. 4. They do fascial flossing, slow, gentle movements that take joints through their full range of motion while focusing on the sensation of the tissues sliding. Sylvia, an 82-year-old who still performs in community theatre productions, told me, "When my doctor saw me touch my toes, she couldn't believe it. This fascial work has kept me more flexible than friends 20 years younger. The science is compelling. Research from the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies demonstrates that fascial techniques increase tissue gliding and reduce adhesions between tissue layers, a primary cause of stiffness as we age. What makes this approach revolutionary is that it focuses on the quality of movement rather than forcing a stretch. You're not trying to reach a specific point. You're rehydrating and mobilizing the fascial system throughout your body. Has anyone ever mentioned fascia to you before? Did you know this tissue is so crucial to flexibility? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. For those with chronic pain, these gentle techniques are often more effective and less aggravating than traditional stretching. Many of my patients with arthritis find fascial work gives them better results with less discomfort. This fascial approach works hand in hand with our sixth flexibility trick, which addresses the most misunderstood aspect of flexibility for seniors. Flexibility trick number 6, nervous system reset. Our sixth flexibility secret might challenge everything you thought you knew about stretching. The most agile 80-year-olds I've worked with practice what I call the nervous system reset, understanding that flexibility after 60 is more about your brain than your muscles. By the time we reach our senior years, most flexibility limitations aren't actually due to short muscles. They're due to protective tension. Your nervous system is trying to keep you safe by limiting ranges of motion it perceives as dangerous. Here's the nervous system approach practiced by my most flexible older patients. They start each stretching session with 2 to 3 minutes of gentle breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 2, exhaling for 6. Before stretching any area, they gently contract the target muscles for 5 to 10 seconds, then relax completely. They incorporate gentle rocking movements rather than static holds. They utilize pandiculation, the natural stretch-yawn response, by gently tensing muscles before slowly releasing into a stretch. They avoid pushing through pain or discomfort, which triggers protective responses. Walter, an 85-year-old who still enjoys ballroom dancing weekly, shared, "I spent years forcing stretches until I learned this approach. Now I achieve better flexibility with half the effort because I'm working with my nervous system instead of fighting it." The science here is fascinating. Research from the Journal of Neurophysiology shows that perceived danger, not tissue length, is often what limits range of motion in older adults. By calming the nervous system first, you can access ranges of motion that were always available, but protected. This is why so many seniors experience the frustration of not being able to reach their toes while seated, yet can perform the same movement more easily in warm water or after massage. The nervous system's perception of safety has temporarily changed. Have you noticed certain environments or situations where you feel more flexible than others? This variation is often due to nervous system regulation rather than actual changes in muscle length. Share your experiences in the comments. For those with past injuries or trauma, this nervous system approach is particularly valuable. Many of my patients with histories of falls or surgeries find that addressing the protective response unlocks flexibility faster than mechanical stretching alone. This nervous system awareness pairs perfectly with our 7th flexibility secret, which addresses the crucial timing that most flexibility programs get completely wrong. Flexibility trick number 7, movement snacking. Our 7th flexibility secret challenges the conventional wisdom that you need long stretching sessions to maintain mobility. The most limber 80-year-olds I've worked with practice what I call movement snacking. Brief, frequent mobility moments distributed throughout the day. Research from the Journal of Aging Physical Activity shows that 3 5-minute movement sessions provide better flexibility outcomes for seniors than a single 30-minute session. Yet most flexibility programs still recommend long, dedicated stretching times that many seniors find difficult to maintain. Here's how my most consistently flexible older patients implement movement snacking. They identify 3 to 5 movement triggers throughout their daily routine, such as boiling the kettle, commercial breaks, or before meals. At each trigger, they perform 1 to 2 minutes of gentle movement or stretching. They focus on different body regions throughout the day, rather than trying to stretch everything at once. They emphasize quality and mindfulness over quantity or intensity. They use everyday objects, countertops, doorways, chairs, rather than special equipment. Lillian, an 87-year-old who still tends her large garden, explained, "I tried following stretching DVDs but could never stick with them. Now I just do a few gentle movements whenever I make tea or wait for the microwave. It's transformed my flexibility because I actually do it consistently. The science is compelling. Frequent movement throughout the day maintains synovial fluid circulation in the joints and prevents the stiffening that occurs with prolonged sitting. Additionally, brief movement snacks help regulate blood glucose levels, which directly impacts tissue elasticity and repair." What makes this approach different is its focus on implementation rather than perfection. Many flexibility programs fail because they're too complex or time-consuming to maintain long-term. Movement snacking integrates seamlessly into existing routines. I'm curious, what time of day do you currently stretch? And do you do one longer session or spread movement throughout your day? Share your habits in the comments below. For those with limited energy due to health conditions, movement snacking is particularly valuable. It allows you to maintain mobility without the fatigue of longer sessions. This approach coordinates perfectly with our eighth and final flexibility trick, which might be the most powerful yet most overlooked aspect of maintaining mobility as we age. Flexibility trick number 8. Myofascial release points. Our eighth and final flexibility secret is perhaps the most powerful yet most overlooked approach to maintaining mobility in our later years. The most remarkably flexible 80-year-olds I've worked with all practice what I call myofascial release points, targeting specific trigger points that create chain reactions of release throughout the body. Most flexibility programs have you stretching everything, which is inefficient and often discouraging. The truth is that 80% of your mobility restrictions likely stem from just 20% of your body's tissue, specific crossroads where tension accumulates and affects multiple movement patterns. Here's how my most mobile senior patients implement this approach. They focus on just 5 key areas: the bottoms of the feet, the hip flexors, the chest, shoulders, the jaw, and the base of the skull. They use gentle pressure techniques with tennis balls, foam rollers, or even household items like rolled towels. They hold gentle pressure on tender points for 30 to 90 seconds until they feel a release. They follow release work with gentle movement to integrate the changes. They prioritize consistency 3 to 4 times weekly over intensity. Michael, an 89-year-old who still enjoys kayaking, shared his experience. I spent years stretching my hamstrings with minimal results. When I started releasing my hip flexors instead, my hamstrings lengthened on their own. I realized I'd been working on the symptoms rather than the cause. The science behind this is fascinating. Research from the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics shows that specific trigger points create compensation patterns throughout the entire body. By addressing these key areas, you create a cascade of release that improves overall mobility with minimal effort. What makes this approach revolutionary is its efficiency. Many seniors become overwhelmed trying to follow comprehensive stretching routines for every body part. By focusing on these critical keystones of tension, you can achieve better results in less time. Have you noticed certain areas of your body seem chronically tight despite stretching? Those might be your personal keystone areas that need this focused release approach. Share your experience in the comments. For those with arthritis or joint replacements, this indirect approach is often more effective and comfortable than direct stretching of affected areas. Many of my patients with knee replacements find that hip flexor release improves their knee mobility more than knee-focused exercises. These 8 flexibility secrets, morning micro-movements, hydration timing, inflammation windows, ankle mobility, fascial hydration, nervous system reset, movement snacking, and myofascial release points, are the comprehensive approach that keeps my most agile patients moving freely well into their 80s and beyond. Let me share a story that demonstrates the power of these 8 flexibility techniques when used together. Meet Claudia, who came to my clinic just shy of her 78th birthday. She couldn't pick up her 2-year-old grandson, had stopped gardening due to back pain, and needed help putting on her shoes. Her doctor had told her this was normal aging, and she should accept these limitations. Claudia began implementing these 8 flexibility secrets, starting slowly with just the morning micro-movements and hydration timing. Within 3 weeks, she noticed she could reach the second shelf in her kitchen without pain. By 6 weeks, she was putting on her own shoes again. After 3 months of consistent practice, never spending more than 15 minutes at once on flexibility work, Claudia sent me a photo I keep in my office to this day. She's on the floor building a block tower with her grandson, with a smile that radiates independence and joy. What's remarkable about Claudia's story isn't just her physical transformation. It's how these flexibility practices changed her entire outlook on aging. She no longer sees her 80s as a time of inevitable decline, but as a period of continued capacity and engagement with life. The research confirms Claudia's experience. A landmark study in the Journal of Gerontology found that seniors who maintained flexibility reported 42% higher quality of life scores and 37% lower depression rates than their less flexible peers. Flexibility isn't just about touching your toes, it's about maintaining your independence, continuing activities you love, and engaging fully with the people who matter most. It's about the freedom to live your life on your terms. If you found these flexibility secrets valuable, please hit the like button right now. It helps more people our age discover this information that most doctors never share. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more evidence-based advice specifically for our generation. Leave a comment below telling me which of these 8 flexibility tricks you're going to try first, or share any questions you have. I personally read every comment and respond to as many as I can. Remember, your body is designed to move at every age. Flexibility isn't a luxury, it's the foundation of independence and quality of life in your golden years. I believe in your capacity to improve regardless of your current starting point.